Hello everyone, this is week 1, day 3 of our positive action lessons. Today we are going to talk about how we can manage our time. So Miss Starr, how many times a day do you hear people say, just a minute, give me a minute, I'll be with you in a minute?
A lot. Too many times.
And we could sit here, actually, I'm going to have us sit here for 15 seconds. And so we can see how long time is. Okay, so starting right now. Okay, that was just 15 seconds, and that seemed like a long time, didn't it? So we always want to make sure that we don't keep people waiting and that we use our time wisely. So we are going to listen to a story about a boy named David who was not using his time very wisely. What to do about David? Shannon Alexander woke up every morning without being called. Her brother David did not. Shannon sang in the shower and was always ready for breakfast before it was ready for her. If David showered, he missed breakfast. If he ate breakfast, he missed his shower. David thought Shannon was annoying. Shannon thought David was never on time. Mrs. Alexander marveled at her children. Shannon is so easy to take care of, she'd tell her friends. And David, well, he's just David. Time seems to be passing him by. Mr. Alexander was not quite as comfortable with the difference between his son and daughter. That kid has got to learn how to be on time, he'd say, every time David kept the family waiting. David's teachers worried about him. Mrs. Marichek, the art teacher, tried every way she knew to help him finish his arts projects on time. If I don't have your paper, how can I display it with the rest? She would say over and over again. At home, he was often behind in his chores. If he didn't get them done, it meant he couldn't play with his friends or he didn't get his weekly allowance. Most days he had to take out the garbage during his favorite television show. One evening at supper, Mr. Alexander said, I was late for an important meeting this morning because you dawdled in the shower. You and Shannon were late for school. What will happen when there's something important to you and you miss out on it because of your poor management of time? David looked at his mother. He squirmed in his chair. Nothing happened. Nobody said anything. He shrugged his shoulders and looked miserably at his empty dinner plate. Finally, Shannon broke the silence. Frumming, she said, through a mouthful of mashed potatoes. Everybody stared at her. Frumming? What does that mean? Said Mr. Alexander. Frumming. Shannon said again. Vivid likes frumming. Oh, for heaven's sake, Shannon, said Mrs. Alexander, don't talk with your mouth full. Then she turned to her husband and said, now, what to do about David? This time, Shannon swallowed hard. Swimming, she said, more clearly this time. David likes swimming. He wants to be an Olympic champion. David punched his sister on the arm. Oh, that wasn't a good choice, was it? Hey, she said, and took another bite of mashed potatoes. Swimming? Mr. Alexander looked amazed. Is that true, David? David grinned and nodded his head. Well, said his mother, I don't see how you'll ever make it. You can't even get out of bed on time. You'd be late for the race. David lay in bed that night and thought about swimming. He imagined himself diving into the cool water and pulling himself stroke after stroke ahead of all the other swimmers. He was so busy swimming, he didn't notice when he slipped into sleep and what he imagined became a dream. David woke up from his dream. Before he drifted back to sleep, he heard his parents talking. The athletic club has swim teams for all age groups. Maybe we could get him in there. I can call Charlie Prescott in the morning. Maybe it will be important to him, and he'll learn to manage his time better. That was his father's voice. David woke up the next morning the minute the sun shone through the window. He was up and into the bathroom showering before Shannon could get out of bed. When he came whistling into the kitchen, his mother nearly dropped a plate of bacon. Oh, that would be a disaster, wouldn't it? Losing bacon to the floor?
Oh, that'd be a bummer.
Oh, what do you think, Mr. Ron? There goes your breakfast, right?
Oh.
Oh. What on earth, she said, and David grinned. They were actually on time for school that morning, and David's dad was on time too. The following week, Mr. Alexander took David to the athletic club to sign up for swimming lessons and the Pollywog swim team. When they met Mr. Prescott, the swim coach, David felt a little nervous. Now, David, said Mr. Prescott, I allow my swimmers a lot of freedom, but I have one hard rule, and I want you to think about it before you sign up, because you must be very sure you can follow it. If you're late for a practice or swim meet, you don't swim. You just sit on the poolside and watch the other swimmers. Understood? Understood, David said, and he grinned the biggest, happiest grin of his life. Understood, he said again. Come on, Dad, let's go. We don't want to be late for dinner. Well, so David is learning how to manage his time. Do you think it made him feel good when his mom and dad kept talking about how he was always late for everything? Miss Starr, what do you think?
No.
Yeah, I would think if it were me, I would be upset. I know my parents would have been upset too. How about you, Mr. Ron? Are you on time for things?
I try to be.
Do you think David learned his lesson?
I think he's turning the right direction.
I do too. So, we always want to try to manage our time resources wisely. For your assignment today, in your journal, I want you to either write or draw about things that you like to do. So that is our lesson for today, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.